I have a question for anyone who might be interested. It goes like this, a little prequel thought here. I used to think when people would tell me that God loves me enough, or that His love is sufficient for me, I used to think that that was irritating and I would get upset because if God's love was enough and it was sufficient, why am I without? Why do I not know? How can I tell within the visceral depths of my soul that I'm held in love? Because if God did love me, I wouldn't feel the separation, would I? And I would get upset with people because they just try to say, oh, well, no, it's good enough. He's fine. You just gotta trust, or whatever. But the reality is a little more nuanced than that. And so I posed this idea to see what you think. It is simply this. What if the reality is that God's love is enough, but we're just not thinking about it in a way that's helpful and conducive to the reality of the way things are? And what I mean is, God is infinite, He is sovereign, He is omnipotent, He is omniscient, He is a bunch of wonderful things. He's from A to Z, He is the Alpha and the Omega. He is from east to west, He is the creator of the universe, He is the ordainer of all things. You really can't stop the reality of what God is in His perfection. And I'll tell you one thing, faux show. We are none of those things. Don't make me repeat. And I think it bears thought, bears to ponder. If God is perfect and we are not, is the problem going to be that God doesn't love me the way I need? Or is the problem going to be that God doesn't care about me or in a way I need? Or is the problem, because of His perfection and our imperfection, more likely that I, on the receiving end of His love, am misappropriating it, or that I misunderstand it? Or is the problem more that I can't understand the vast magnitude of the reality of it? I propose an idea for all of us to consider. What if the reality isn't that God's love being enough isn't really sufficient for us? What if the reality is, in God's enoughness, the reality of His love is so great, so vast, so far beyond and more than comprehensible, that we simply cannot take it all in, and we need to trust and dwell on Him, with Him, realize who He is more. Because I'm telling you, the more I exist, the more I live and breathe, God's love being enough is a reminder that I cannot fully know Him. And it's not because He's hiding or He's rude or doesn't want me to. It's because He's so great, I just can't. Moses was hidden in the cleft of the rock because his finiteness would be consumed by the greatness and the glory of God. God loved him and wanted him alive. So He chose not to show him His vastness and the greatness of who He is, because He didn't want him to die, because he'd be consumed by the infinity that God is. His love for us is similar. We want it, but sometimes it's like we're asking God to show us the fullness of Himself, not realizing that we'll die if He does. And He so loves us and has such a magnificent purpose for us that He will keep us here to do His will and to be pleasing to Him and to know that love even more. So just think on that with me. Know God loves you, and it's not that it's enough. It's that we need to know more of its enoughness.